The Educational Technology Resource Review by me, Pranav Gumaluri. The software I have chosen for this project is called Slack. It is a communication software where you can talk to people in live for projects and other work-related items. The reason I have chosen this software is because I have used this software before in middle school, high school, and even the early days of college. I chose this software because it has been useful to me for many a project, and I had easy communication with my teammates, and I could access my project through Slack at any time, even if I am outside the state or outside the country, which was for one of my projects in college. It had easy accessibility on my computer. You could download it on any software. I use it on my Mac, and I could share files with my friends and project partners who were on other types of devices with ease. It has lots of potential for collaborative and personalized learning, where you can talk with professors and teachers alike one-to-one. They can personalize their own learning styles with you, and it also has good synergy with other services such as Google Drive and Microsoft Office. You can access documents, slideshows, Excel spreadsheets, and all those from Slack itself. As I said, it is a communication surface. It allows you and other teams to communicate in real time with each other. You can allow proper corporate groups to communicate with other companies. It can be used between lawyers and their clients. You can send messages between two groups, two people, multiple people. It allows files and documents to be shared, and it can promote remote learning as well as long-distance project management. So Slack started out as an internal communication tool for a small gaming company called TinySpec. They were developing a game called Glitch back in 2011, 2012. And then the game proved to not be feasible in the long term. So the founder of TinySpec, called Stuart Butterfield, he switched his priorities to develop Slack even more. That's when the company changed from TinySpec to Slack Technologies. It released in 2013, and it was advertised as a searchable log of all conversation and knowledge, hence the name Slack. It's more of an abbreviation than an actual term. In July 2018, Slack acquired two communication services called HipChat and Stride, and they integrated their services into Slack and migrating all their users into Slack as well. And on December 2020, the biggest news for Slack was that the big software management company Salesforce agreed to acquire Slack for around $28 billion, and the acquisition was completed around July 2021. So some of the pros about Slack is that it has very easy navigation. It has a search bar up top where you can find all your messages with people, all the files that you've shared, all the files that you've downloaded, and any people you want to start direct messages with or calls with. There's a live notification system where you can receive like calls, messages, and other notifications such as shared documents and shared spreadsheets and all that. And you can keep your conversations organized via thread replies tool, where you can just keep all your relevant project mates, company employees in a separate area, and you can branch it out to different areas of work. You can make direct calls to team members on Slack, as well as you can access every single shared document and file. There are some cons for Slack, such as information overload. It could lead to distractions and less work being done in the long term, as well as information overload, which is like a sort of broader term, as having too much of that will be overwhelming. It will lead to sort of anxiety and distractions and less productivity, as I said before. There's also a small bit of like a lack of formality, as informal communication could be misinterpreted. You can accidentally message your superior when you wanted to message your company mate or like colleague, as well as that. And there are some security risks, and data breaches and unauthorized access of confidential information could happen. There's also a bit of a learning curve for the software. People who are new to the software will need time to adjust, as it is much more in depth compared to stuff like Google Meet or Zoom or Microsoft Teams. And Slack does follow the freemium model. There's a free version which has access to limited tools and such as that. But a lot of features are locked behind a paywall. It's not too expensive though. So the technology implementation is that, like with Google Drive, you can share and collaborate on documents, spreadsheets, presentations, drawings, and all that. And you can access files directly from Slack to the Google software. It's the same thing for Microsoft Teams. You can share and collaborate on documents and all that. And you can also access like the Microsoft calendars and the Microsoft tasks, as well as like automation functions as well. And with Kahoot, this is for more school use. You can gamify classes, which can increase engagement with the students. And one of the quotes from a reading I've seen is called "The Benefits of Multimedia Education." It says that learning trends can be more fun for learners than gathering information through wordy textbooks, and this can actually increase their knowledge and passion for the subject being taught. This has actually worked for me. A lot of times in middle school and high school, we've had Kahoots being done, and like Quizlet Lives, where we would like gamify, like in French class, a lot of French terms and vocabulary would be like gamified, and we just learn through that. It works. And through another software called Miro, you can like use, which is a digital whiteboard. You can use it for discussion boards, brainstorming on projects, as well as project planning itself. And you can also visualize ideas, so you can work on creative projects such as drawings and other complex tasks. So in an educational role, Slack can enhance collaboration. You have real-time discussions with your teammates. It's not just like where you can text them and they read it like 5 hours later and then like miss a important point for the project. You can increase your productivity and streamline your workflow so that you can finish your projects faster. And there is accessibility for all students, any type of students. It has options for learners with various needs, those who who haven't learned English enough, or they have it as an English as a second language. They have transcriptions, translations, and for visual learners, you can screen share so that you can see videos, slideshows, and all that. I've talked about the gamifying experience earlier, as well as you can share knowledge very quickly with Slack. Some solutions. Any issues with marginalized communities are that some communities have unequal access to technology. They come from low-income backgrounds, or they just might not have good internet access in their area. And because of such unequal access to tech, they'll have limited digital literacy skills. They will have a tough time navigating a platform like Slack. And obviously, there's cultural differences for those who are having English as a second language. They just come to the Americas or another English-speaking country. And yeah, they'll have a tough time learning English, and Slack certainly doesn't really help with that. But the way you can use Slack, it can be used to help those. And obviously, there is a risk of harassment. People can come on Slack, your calls, they can start bombarding people with harassing, heinous messages and bullying and such as that. Some solutions are a lot of schools have device lending programs. My old school provided Chromebooks, and some other schools provide iPads and such as that. They have access to Slack. Digital learning programs can be taught to kids who have English as a second language or who have come from a poor background and they don't have much tech literacy. They can have clear instructions and guidelines for participation. Online communities can be created for those in those communities, and teaching assistants can be there to online discussions, and they can intervene if necessary if any cyberbullying does take place. And diverse learning styles can be applied with text-to-speech transcriptions, screen sharing, and translation for English, like paragraphs and such as that. And what does this technology mean for those marginalized groups? It's not designed for them, but you can use it in a way where it can support them. It can be used to make online communities. They can connect and network with people. These communities can be used to share knowledge, ask questions, work on projects together. And it can be a safe haven, right? People of LGBT, who identify as LGBT, can come together. BIPOC, people who are coming in from a lower end of a community in terms of income, they can join together, make communities, and protect themselves from online harassment, surround themselves. And because of this networking, they can expand to job searching so that they can advance their own career despite the setbacks that they have. From my own personal experience, I've used Slack in my high school days, middle school days, to make projects such as research papers, presentations, science labs, and even coding projects. I've had a great time using the communication functions with my project partners. We'd meet and talked with each other and look at our progress. Yeah, and for one of my projects, one of my partners was outside the country on vacation. This was during Thanksgiving break. We can still talk to him real time. No international cell business needed. We can just talk to him. If he had internet, we can call him. So we had no issues there, and it's useful for coding projects. It has a community-built integration with GitHub. Those in the computer science business know what GitHub's all about. I do recommend Slack. It's been an effective tool for me. I've completed many projects with this software. Just some tips are to use the channels effectively. Stay focused. Don't get overloaded by information. One of the readings I read was Meyer's 12 Principle of Multimedia Learning. It says that just learning is more effective if unnecessary information is excluded, and developers should make sure that words and visuals are aligned and they complement each other. And if you use the search functionality, the menu is large and complex, so use the search bar to find whatever you need instead of wasting your time scrolling through. Some questions are, how can we make sure Slack and other similar apps can be accessible and inclusive to all learners? Since education now relies on tools like Slack, Zoom, and Google Classroom, what are any ethical issues at hand? What are the risks of using such technologies? And will tools like Slack be a mainstay in the world of education, or will it advance to different methods of learning? And here are my citations.